Good evening, John. How you doing?
Good evening. Thanks. How you guys doing?
Great, thanks.
Good thing.
Good.
All right.
No, we asked you earlier in the season and the portion of practice where you're working on turnovers and ball security. So deep into the season, didn't pay dividends. It is now. Can you just talk a little bit about sticking with that? Do you do some things differently? Just the approach when you have a drought and then when the dam finally breaks.
Yeah, we've been really working on the same stuff since the beginning of the season. There did come a point in time where it's like, gosh, we're just working so hard. And you probably remember talking about this. Should we do a reverse psychology and just stop working on it to see if the tide changes? But there's no way we could go that route. So, every Wednesday, Thursday, we do takeaway drills and ball security drills. And we just stayed the course. And we just really believed as coaches and players that eventually, we're going to get real good at it. And, when it rains, it pours. And that was kind of what our hope was. And so far the last, I think, 3 weeks, we've been pretty darn good at it. So the mindset is just keep attacking the football when they got it and hold on to that sucker when we got it. And so far, I think it's helped us win the last 3 games.
John, we saw CJ used on defense in a kind of a spy situation yesterday. Given how much you've worked with him on special teams, is that something that Mike Nolan comes to you and says, hey, what do you think of this, or to what degree are you involved in those conversations?
Yeah, what you said is actually exactly what happened. Coach Nolan came to us with that idea. Might have been last Tuesday, maybe. He said, hey, I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about CJ for it. What do you think? And I was like, yeah, I mean, he'll be great at it, just kind of creep up in there and go shoot the quarterback when he escapes the pocket. And CJ is just so really instinctive and so quick that he gets on the ball carriers faster than the ball carriers think. And so it was great to see him out on the field on third down. And CJ can do a lot of things. And that was cool to see him out there with, a real specific role for this game.
Reggie knocked loose that ball yesterday. Obviously, y'all weren't able to recover in bounds, but talk about that play in particularly. I know you've mentioned the decision of whether to have him active. How did he validate that decision yesterday?
Yeah, he has really improved, and I mentioned it last week. My assistant, Coach Matt Daniels, has done a great job working with him on some particular things, like the gunner and vice world. But he made a great, we call it a retrace punch tackle, because he came from behind the runner. And what nobody really saw was Luke Gifford and Francis Bernard and Rondell Carter. They just jammed that whole sideline return up. And Reggie penetrated, went past the ball, then came from behind the ball carrier and punched it out. And CJ did a great job of recovering it, but, you talk about the game in inches. He was just, I'm sure you saw it, just barely out of bounds on the recovery. But that's just the mindset, is attacking the football and the ball carriers. When the ball is under attack, the ball carriers have a tendency to want to go down. And so that's kind of what we've been going after it, whether we're on special teams or defense. And great play by Reggie. Sorry for the long-winded answer.
Had many chances to be around the football this year, and he missed a tackle attempt. It might have been his first tackle attempt. I'm not sure. Right before he jarred that ball loose. What, if anything, do you think that says about him? And did you say anything to him after the missed tackle?
On the kickoff you're talking about?
Correct.
Yeah, we didn't even count that as a missed tackle, because he got through a huge wave of blockers, and he basically sprayed the returner to the boundary. And so he was really chasing the back hip, and he was scrambling to make that tackle. So we didn't count that as a missed tackle because the runner ran away from him, and we just funneled him out of bounds. So we just said, honestly, we told Reggie, great job of penetrating, and you made the runner go really where he didn't want to go, to some other tacklers. And so that's just kind of team kickoff coverage, and the same goes for punt coverage. It's team coverage, not just, individual tackling. So on that one, we said another great job of getting through the line of defense.
I'm not naive to the fact of the number of injuries that you guys have had collectively as a defense, and that probably dictated to some degree Reggie's involvement. But how much of him getting these opportunities these past couple games was determined by what you had seen on the practice field?
A lot. It was a combination of a couple of guys getting injured, so we finally got a chance. But, Reggie has been a professional about working at practice and, buying his time, even though those guys want to get out there. I think early in the season it was good for him to kind of just watch a couple games and just see some, veteran professionals, how they practice and then how they play in the game. And then the time was right for him to get in. And, he's been working for this, and the couple months of training have helped him in these last 2 games. And he's been an asset for us on special teams, no doubt about it.
And then Hunter Nicewinder, I know we've asked you about him in the past, but what did you make of his game on Sunday, and how do you feel he's been able to put in a bid for what could be the job in 2021?
Yeah, first answer to your question was I thought he did a good job. He was a little bit frustrated after the game. The first punt was an outstanding punt. The one where we were punting from inside the 50, they fair caught it at about the 13. We'd like him to get about 5 more yards on that, make him fair catch it at the 8. We call it half a first down. So he just needs to add a little more juice to that. But he didn't want to touch back, so that's just part of gaining some confidence that he could swing at it. And then the third one, they were in defensive stay, and he took a little bit too big of a cut at it and just missed it inside. And we felt like we could have got at least 10 more yards net on that. So he felt like he left some yardage for our defense on the field, which is good because he did. And to answer the second part of your question, I think he's put in a tremendous bid for a job in the NFL and definitely one here. And hopefully he's got a few more games to prove some more good punting.
Christy?
Hey, John, in regards to domino effect of whether it's injury or a guy like Joe Thomas getting more work on the defense at linebacker, I want to ask you about personal protector for punts because Darian Thompson, I don't know if he's going to be in concussion protocol this week, but it looks like Malik went in and filled in for him on that last punt, but that's not a guy who's been active on game day very often. So what is the plan for that this week? The other question is does a backup guy even get a chance during the week to get a few reps in practice when called upon like that?
Very good observation, by the way. Darian Thompson's been our PP all along. We have a couple options that we have at practice. One of the options has been Malik, who takes all our scout punt team reps when we go Cowboys punt return. So he gets a great look at some different rushes and returns that he gets from the scout punt perspective, which are very valuable reps. Noah Brown is also an option, and he could have gone in there. We used Malik because I had Malik on the sideline that we could kind of talk to him, and Noah was kind of in and out on offense. And then we have another guy that we could get in there as well. So to answer your question, yeah, there's multiple options. They don't get a lot of reps with the punt team in practice, but we get them reps through other avenues like on scout punt or just standing behind Darian when the rep is happening to take really a mental rep at the picture and the cadence and all those things. There's been a lot of, injuries and guys that have gotten to play, at a lot of positions, which has been great for him, in kind of a weird way that we're gaining a lot of seasoning with some young guys just kind of by need.
And in regards to Joe Thomas, was it Luke that picked up most of his work? You mentioned Luke earlier, or did you have to spread that out among multiple guys?
We spread that around multiple guys. Luke obviously played all 4 phases, not all at Joe's position, but Siwo picked up some reps. Rondale Carter picked up some reps. Sean McKeon picked up some reps. So a lot of really good, rookies that are really stepping up at some critical spots at critical times.
Thank you.
Todd?
Yeah, John, I was curious, throughout your career as a special teams coach, have you ever had to rely on, I think it's 5 or 6 undrafted free agents? Maybe it's 4 or 5 on your punt team, the way you had here the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I actually one time I have in 2013 when I was with the St. Louis Rams, we had about 5 or 6 undrafted rookies on the punt team, and they really blossomed. And within a couple of years, I thought we had a really forceful special teams. And so with these reps these guys are getting, I don't think they realize how valuable they are, you know, for their longevity in the NFL, but also us, you know, building a high-quality special teams unit. So, yeah, I do remember 2013 is a very similar feel to what we kind of have right now on special teams, which I'm all on board with, and I love seeing these young guys go out there and compete and learn the tricks of the trade in the NFL because it's tough.
Michael?
Yeah, I was curious. Obviously, CD's been your punt returner all season. What's your philosophy about when does a guy become too valuable to use on special teams, or do you just, as a special teams coordinator, take the best player you possibly have until another coach says, hey, we need him not to be on special teams and just to stay on offense?
Yeah, that's a really good one. You know, as far as CD goes, I think he's very valuable on punt return, and so we're using him there. And we're just very conscious of his workload. And right now, with CD and everything he has on offense, we don't feel that it's too much. But there could come a point in time, and I've coached a lot of guys where there comes a point in time where you say, okay, the role has to become limited or eliminated. And that's just kind of a feel thing as we go along with the player. But we feel that CD can handle the punt return duties. He likes the punt return duties, and he's really good at it. So for the long time being, I see him being back there as our guy.
Unless someone has anything else, I think we're good for this evening, Coach.
I've got one more, actually.
Sorry, go ahead.
On a similar note, but not the football side, given that you get so many of these guys on special teams who are really new to the league, how much do you consider your job as coordinator also about introducing these guys to just how to be in the NFL beyond how to play special teams?
Yeah, that's awesome you asked that question, because that's a huge part of our preparation during the week is teaching them how to watch film, teaching them how to, you know, understand scouting reports, teaching them how to practice, teaching them that they need to go to sleep earlier at night because the morning comes around fast and it's dark when they wake up. There's just so many things for these young guys. The season's long. You know, college season is done by now for most of them, but we got some young guys that I'm sure you're aware of, and Rico and Siwo and Francis and McKeon and Rondell Carter and, I mean, the list, you know, Reggie Robinson. And they got some really good mentors in the building as far as the veteran players as well. But we take that very, very seriously as coaches. I know I do for sure, just teaching them how to be pros and keeping them excited. And, you know, my goal for them is when they leave the facility each day, in their brain, I want them thinking, man, I can't wait to come back the next day. And if that's the way they feel when they leave the building, then we're winning.
All right. Thanks for your time tonight, Coach. We appreciate it.